people awkward. Yeah.
Just off to the side here, we've got some little white boxes with lights on them. People are often curious about what they are. These are drip counters. They're data loggers put there by the University of New South Wales, and they're counting the drops that hit in the ceiling. They're part of a hydrology study. There's rain gauges on the surface and these little boxes down here. So they're gauging how much rain and how long it takes that rain to drip down into the cave. It actually takes, I'm quite surprised every time this happens, but it can take weeks for a good rainfall on the surface to actually reach, say, the altar level of the cathedral. It takes quite a long time for it to filter through. The University of New South Wales have also done some other hydrology work in here, proving that the water at the bottom of the cathedral cave, which is a little deeper than what we're allowed to go, actually comes from the Bell back into the Bell River as well. It's a series of underground ponds. They fill up quite fast because they get quite slowly. As you come down, this area over here is worth exploring because there is a cave off the side just over here. You can walk down through that area. Move out of the ground way. So you can go to the kissing cave if you want to. You don't have to. I just revel in the back up those people in there and talk about it when we're allowed to let them in. It's a small confined space. If you go in, just go in one room at a time. I've been in there a few times, so I don't need to.
We go inside, you think?
Why not?
If I bend over, go into the
That's why I don't go in. All that, I always got my head too.
Who MW is?
So the first thing I want to point out to people here is I've got our heads here. This is a big, long, active stalactite. This one's currently dripping, and that's why we just had it on the ground. There's a little puddle down there. And this one's actively growing, so the droplets you see gathering on the tip and falling are actually getting little microcrystals forming around the outside. The only ones that'll stay are the ones that make contact with the already existing crystal. All the rest will fall as the droplet falls. We do get a little stalagmite forming down here. Stalagmites are the ones that grow up from the ground, stalactites are the ones that grow down from the ceiling. But whenever the puddle emerges, like it is at the moment, it redissolves the stalagmite away. The caves themselves were not formed the same way. This is rain from above forming these beautiful crystals. There's some older ones back up there. Caves themselves, as I mentioned earlier, have been formed from groundwater rising up into cracks. You imagine the limestone sitting here, a crack emerges into it, but if it's below the groundwater level, that acidic groundwater is making its way up into the crack and just sitting there for millions of years, slowly dissolving away the walls. Here we think there's a thermal element too. Why do we think that? For this reason. Big billowing polars like that one, and up here too. So there's obviously an upward force here as the water's coming through. Most likely the source for that is just hot water that will be rising slowly into the roof. That gives you a bit of an idea of what the age might be on these. These have to have been formed when the groundwater was up to the roof. Today, the groundwater is a fair way below us, probably 25 metres below where we are right now. So quite a long way. Maybe not. Yeah, 18 to 25. Anyone noticed any graffiti yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. One of the interesting ones that I only recently discovered is up on the roof just here. It's not an easy one to see, so I'll stand in the corner back here. There's one up there that says J. Sybil, and underneath it says Constantine. Now the reason I'm so interested in that particular one is because I'm pretty sure it's written by the same person that did this JS right here. And that one's more complete. J. Sybil leaves no doubt as to who did it. This one here is just a JS, but it's done in the same lettering. Somebody holding a candle up to the ceiling and just leaving a black soot mark over and over and over again. And of all the people in the world, you would think JS should know better. James Sybil was the first appointed caretaker of this reserve, appointed in 1885. And it's all that James may have involved coming down into the caves, writing your name on the wall and snapping off a crystal to take home. Today, we understand the caves a little better, so this is why I say things like don't touch the walls. Definitely don't snap off any crystals. We'll go down a little deeper. While I'm here though, I do want to point out, this room has traditionally been known as Dino Room because the shadow cast by that rock there, which casts a shadow that looks a bit like a dinosaur head. That's an example of something called cave fantasy. It's kind of like sitting on your back in the middle of a field and staring up at the clouds. You can make out all sorts of shapes in the shadows in the cave. And watch yourself on these stairs as we walk a little deeper. There's two handrails here, feel free to use them both, and these stairs can be unreal. When you get down this next level, I'm going to ask you briefly not to use the flash or a torch, just so you don't spoil the surprise. I'm going to play a trick with the lights in the media chamber in front of us.
Going down.
I had to carry my own joystick down here.
We take photo later. After.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons it's got that name, the Cathedral Cave. It's probably the high ceilings that play a part in that. So this little area here gives me a good opportunity. I've got to play around with the lights a bit to turn the lights on in this chamber behind me. And I like taking that chance to introduce you to some of the things we know about the history. People are always asking who discovered the cave. And it's not an easy one to answer simply because we don't know. We haven't got a record of who discovered it in either sense. When I say either sense, we're on Wiradjuri country here. The Wiradjuri people have been here for thousands and thousands of years, and they did know about the caves. If you'd gone through in years gone by, you would have been told something along the lines of, oh, there's no evidence that Aboriginal people in Australia ever used caves or lived in caves.